Hello, hello.
नमस्कार नागपुर.
Okay, I guess हम नागपुर में हैं तो कैसा क्या है नागपुर? नहीं? बढ़िया? Okay.
A very good evening to everyone present here. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the first ever AWS User Group Nagpur event, the launch of AWS User Group for the Nagpurkers, where ideas meet the cloud and chai meets innovation.
I am Zoya,
And I am Saksham.
your host for the evening, and we promise this won't be one of those long, lousy tech events where people just nod like they understand everything. We are here to learn, enjoy, and build together.
Today's gathering is very special because it's not just about AWS, it's about the community. The AWS User Group is a family of learners, builders, and dreamers who come together to share, grow, and support each other. Whether you are a student just exploring the cloud for the first time or a professional who's already building production level solution, today's event is for you.
Before we start, let's take a moment to appreciate the amazing AWS User Group Nagpur core team, the people who made this event possible with their hard work, sleepless nights, and caffeine. Our organizer, Mr. Naresh Vaswani sir, Ms. Jyoti Notani ma'am, Mr. Anmoldev Arora, and Mr. Aishwarya Gathe.
Alright, so what's the plan for today? We have got two power-packed sessions lined up. First, we'll dive into the world of AI agents and Amazon Bedrock. Sounds fancy, right? Don't worry, by the end of it, you'll casually drop in the terms like AgentCore in your conversations.
Then, after a good tea break, because no Indian event is complete without a chai, right? We'll jump into building resilient serverless applications on AWS.
And here's the fun part. There will be questions at the end of each session with goodies for the winners. And a special reward for the most interactive attendee. So stay attentive, participate, and make the most out of it.
So attendees, sit back, relax, and get ready for an evening filled with learning, laughter, and a little bit of cloud magic. Alright, so before we begin, I want to invite the heart and soul of AWS User Group Nagpur, our organizers, Mr. Naresh Vaswani sir and Ms. Jyoti Notani ma'am, to share their journey, how this community came to life and what it means to them. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Zoya. Thank you, Saksham. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying the evening. And I'm really happy and glad to see you all here with so much energy and enthusiasm at AWS User Group Nagpur kickoff. And I am Jyoti Notani, AWS User Group Nagpur organizer, and I'm joined by my co-organizer Naresh Vaswani. So before we begin with the sessions, I would like to share the journey how we have reached here. So it took us a while to reach, or I would say an year to reach at this stage and launching AWS User Group Nagpur. So I've been giving sessions to multiple colleges at Nagpur, and after that we have got the opportunity to speak and deliver a session at AWS Community Day Bangalore. The session was received very well, and as I delivered the session and got down from the stage, one volunteer came and he said, Jyoti, the session was really very nice, and Ridhima wants to talk to you. So it was like, dream come true for me, because when we were just going for the Bangalore, Naresh and me, to deliver the session, we had this thought in mind that something like this, like a user group, we always dreamt of launching the AWS User Group Nagpur, because in different areas, if we go to Bangalore, Pune, there are lots of communities on tech, lots of tech events happens, but we don't see much in Nagpur. So that was one of the thought we had in our mind. And when I got to know that Ridhima wants to meet us, I was like, that's Sone Pe Suhaga for me. I've just gone and met her, And we just had a talk. She wanted to have an interview with us for some quick bites to share on social media. Then at the end, we asked her if we are willing to launch AWS User Group Nagpur. So the first reaction was Nagpur. It's like, how many organizations are active there? How many organizations are there? What would be the tech count there? So for this question is weird to us, but for her who doesn't know much about Nagpur, it's like so obvious question. And she said okay. At last she was convinced, and she said let's go ahead and submit the applications. So we came back, we initiated a mail thread with her, we had submitted the applications, and that's how things started. But over a period of time, it was like months, 2-3 months, and the thread was a bit inactive. And we just lost our hope that kuch nahi hoga shayad ab. Then again we got an opportunity to speak at AWS Community Day Pune. So it was just a destiny, and we were so happy that we will catch Ridhima this time again in the community day. But unfortunately she was not there. So I have got the chance to meet two different developer advocates who are in touch with Ridhima. I made sure कि सबको बोल के रखे that this kind of thing we are, planning to do or we are willing to do. So जितना spread हम लोग कर पाए, जितने लोगों से we try to communicate our thoughts we did. And when we back from Pune, Ridhima responded to the inactive mail. जो एक दो महीने से there was no response on that. And then things started again after the AWS Community Day Pune. Then she had given us the go ahead to launch AWS User Group Nagpur, and that's how we are just here in front of you. That was all about the journey which I had, and I think I should stop here and give some time to my co-organizer to speak something. Thank you so much.
She almost got everything. I'm just here to say hi. So our journey has been like almost the same. We have been giving sessions at multiple events of AWS. So for me, 2 decades of experience with AWS. I've been working almost like 8 years now. And when we started, I'm an ex-Persistent, by the way. So when we started AWS, not many of us were in this tech stack. We had so many issues. Whom do we approach? Something is not working. How do we reach out to like people and all? Stack Overflow then was the only way. So till like since then, I had this craving that I want to start something in Nagpur because multiple trips to Bangalore. I used to see communities are very vibrant. People talk, network, exchange ideas, implement a lot of things. But in Nagpur, I think that was missing big time. So that was the only reason for us to start this community. So this community is not by us, it's by you, for you. Just reach out to us anytime you have any problem. We'll flag and post all our logos and the social platform connects. So yeah, just reach out to us for anything and participate. Let's make this event lively. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for that inspiring clip. I guess now we are all set to kick things off.
Okay, to set the tone of today's event, we are honored to have a special keynote message from Ms. Ridhima Kapoor. Ridhima ma'am is the Senior Community Manager at Amazon Web Services, passionate about empowering communities and helping builders innovate using AWS tech. With years of experience, she has inspired countless developers to explore what's possible on AWS.
She is digitally here with us today. So let's all watch and absorb her insights on how AWS empowers innovation, collaboration, and community growth, the very pillars of this user group. Please give a warm round of applause as we tune in to connect with her message for all of us over here.
Hello, good morning everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the very special launch event of AWS User Group in Nagpur. I am Meetup Track and I manage developer communities for AWS India and South Asia, and it's so great to have you all today with us. You can have easily spend your weekend sleeping till late or spending time with your friends or family, but you chose to come here instead. And that's what I love about this community the most, to see you all coming together with a shared passion for learning more about AWS technology and helping your peers. And this is exactly what I want to talk about today, which is the power of community. So whether you're a beginner or an experienced developer, being part of a community can have numerous benefits for your career and personal development. Be it knowledge sharing or network opportunities, or having the feeling of affinity of being part of a social group. Get support from your peers, find mentors, upskill yourself, enhance your public speaking skills, and in fact, as a bonus, you can also get some cool swags. So there is something for everybody. And I keep getting a lot of messages on my LinkedIn saying, hey Rimpa, we love your post about community, but where do we get started with the AWS community? Well, if you are new to AWS community, then I suggest joining a nearby AWS user group, which in fact you already did, and get started there. So user groups are peer-to-peer communities which meet regularly to share ideas, answer questions, and learn more about new services or best practices. To be rightly put, it's the best cheat code of upskilling yourself on trending technologies like AI. So make sure you join the Meetup page for AWS User Group Nagpur so that you can be notified whenever our user group leaders organize an event. And if you want to dive deep on AWS services, you can actually apply for a program called AWS Community Builders, which offers technical resources, education, networking opportunities with AWS subject matter experts. So this is a program for people who are passionate about knowledge sharing and connecting with the technical community on a deeper level, and also love to share the knowledge with other community members. Currently the applications are right now closed, but they'll open again in January. So you can add your name to the waitlist and get notified once it opens up. And we have so many passionate people in the community who go above and beyond to engage the community, and we make sure to reward them as well. For all such folks, we have a program called AWS Hero, which recognizes a vibrant worldwide group of AWS experts whose enthusiasm for knowledge sharing has a real impact within the community. These heroes go above and beyond to share knowledge in a variety of ways, including online, like social media, blog posts, open source projects, videos, forums, in-person conferences like this, hosting workshops, user group events, and so much more. But the caveat is, you can't apply for this program. This is based on nominations from AWS employees, and there is no checklist as such, but keep doing the awesome work that you do, and AWS will be sure to recognize that. And do I see any college students in the room today? Make some noise! You must be wondering, what do we have for students? Like I said, there is something for everyone. Especially for students, we have the AWS Cloud Clubs. So AWS Cloud Clubs are student-led user groups for college and universities. And just recently, we launched over 130 plus AWS Cloud Clubs across India. Isn't that great? And lastly, if you want to stay connected with everyone in the community and get free access to AI tools like Amazon Q and free skill builder course, I highly recommend please sign up on AWS Builder Center. And I hope you find today's event helpful for you, and a huge shout out to our user group leaders, Jyoti and Naresh, for putting up this event together. And I look forward to seeing you all join our vibrant AWS community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ridhima ma'am, for that insightful keynote.
Okay, so now to kick things off, it's time for our first session of the day. One that's going to open our minds to what's possible when AI meets AWS.
A quick question for the audience. Who here has tried building an AI agent? Okay, and who have asked ChatGPT to make an AI agent? Let's be honest. Great.
Okay, so don't worry if that feels too advanced. By the end of this session, you will be casually explaining agent SDKs to your friends like a pro. Our speaker for this session is someone who truly embodies innovation. Mr. Praveen Kumar Menghani, Executive Cloud and AI Leader at AWS.
He has been empowering developers across India to explore the power of AI, ML and the AWS ecosystem. Today, he is here to talk about unleashing AI agent, Strands Agent SDK meets Amazon Bedrock AgentCore. And a quick reminder, at the end of this session, there will be some questions. Be attentive and you might win some goodies.
So, please join me in giving a huge round of applause for Mr. Praveen Kumar Menghani sir.
Hello everyone. Hope you're all able to hear me fine, right? Anyone at the back is having some problem in hearing? Or maybe I can speak close. Fine. So, first of all, thank you so much everyone for taking up your time and joining with us today in this session. So today I'm going to talk about Amazon Bedrock, Agentic AI, Strands, Agent SDK and Agent. My name is Praveen Kumar Menghani and I'm one of the technical account manager working with AWS from last 3 years. Having an experience of more than 2 decades across different IT companies, and I'm also one of the Nagpurian, passed out way back in 2003, and that's how I started off my journey. So today I'm going to talk about and walk you through some of the things that includes understanding about Bedrock. How many of you have used Bedrock so far? Okay, that's great. And how many of you have used or built some agents? I think I have seen some hands already raised. That's great. And how many of you have built the agents which can be deployed into the production? Alright, that's great. So, could you please list down some of the challenges that you faced when you build those agents for the production system? Memory and context. Alright. Anyone else want security? Security. Alright. Anyone else? Scale. Alright. That's great. Observability. Okay. Guardrails. Alright. Cool. Anyone else? Yeah. Alright. So we'll try to address pretty much all of these concerns that anyone might have it when it comes to building and moving their agents to the production, right? So we'll try to solve those challenges, and we'll see how we can address all of these challenges with the help of something called as AgentCore, and how we can build the agents with the help of Strands Agent SDK. It's just few lines of code. You should be able to build those agents very quickly. Right, so we'll try to see all of this thing in action. So I'll just quickly begin with a quick round of agenda here. So we'll introduce you to what Amazon Bedrock is, what are its key features. Then we'll talk about what is Agentic AI. Then we'll try to understand some example of Strands Agent SDK. Then we'll talk about Bedrock AgentCore and a quick demo of both the technologies. Alright. Now, if we talk about generative AI, now it has come a long way and it has progressed really fast in last couple of years, I would say. So, the year 2023 was the year when we used to think about what is generative AI. Do I need to become a prompt engineer to really be a successful person in this area? Is this really secure? How do I choose a particular model? This is where we used to think about that generative AI. Now, if I talk about the year of 2024, we used to think, how can we prioritize our projects? How can I lower down my cost? Because there were many LLMs available, the large language models available, which were trained on vast majority of the data. And we used to think about how can I lower down the cost, or what customization method should I choose it? How can I stay secure and be compliant with my org standards that my org typically needs it? And then year 2025 is typically, this is the year we call it as year of agents, because this is where the rapid pace of the agents have evolved to the great extent, and we are also thinking about how can we keep pace with those newly developed models, and how can we best utilize those models to build those agents for our use cases. Alright. Now, if we talk about the Bedrock, now Bedrock is a service in AWS which provides you access to the foundation models. Now, these foundation models are provided from different companies. That includes some of the popular providers like Amazon, Anthropic, Meta, and so on. So there are many foundation models available. Depending on your use cases, depending on what exactly you want to do it, you can use the Bedrock as a platform. Choose the best model, optimize for the cost, latency and accuracy. You can securely connect with your org data. Let's say you want to build a system where you want to train the LLM with your own data, with your own repository of knowledge base. You can do that with the help of Bedrock, and then you can apply safety, responsible AI. That is, you can apply the guardrails around your whole agentic flow, and then you can deploy and operate the agents at scale. So that's what Bedrock is, a service that provides you these options for. Alright. Now, it is built on top of AWS leading security and compliance. So that means whatever compliance mechanism that you want to follow, or maybe your organization needs. So for example, if your organization needs ISO compliance standards or SOC, or maybe if your organization is working in the healthcare industry, you might want to follow the HIPAA compliance. So all these compliance mechanisms are available. You can build your models, you can build your applications very securely by following all these security standards within Bedrock. Alright, next, you do have an option within Bedrock where you can also import your custom model. Let's say you might have fine-tuned your model at your own, some of your compute instances. Now you want to bring that model, you want to import that model within Bedrock. You have this option available where you can simply click on import model as an option. Alright, and you should be able to bring in your model. Now let's say tomorrow you might say that, hey, you know what, I want to also customize this model further. Is there any option available? Yes, we do have a lot of options available. I'll talk about it as we progress further, how you can customize these models. Okay, next, now you can optimize these models for cost, latency, and the accuracy. Now there are different options available for doing this further. You can choose any of the models that are available. Depends on what features you need it. Depends on if you want to go with model distillation, you want to go with intelligent prompt routing, you want to route your request to different models, depends on the use cases. Or maybe you want to use something like a prompt caching, which can optimize your queries further, right? And then it will help you to reduce down the cost further. Moving on. So these are the different, you can say, consumption options available. Depends on what your use case is, and if you are further thinking about reducing down the cost for, as well, you have the wide varieties of options. So, for example, you can go with on-demand, where you can pay as you go with no commitment. You can go with provision throughput. If you need higher throughput for your use cases, you can go with the provision throughput. You can get some good capacity availability, and further you can also go with no commit, and across the different models you can pay hourly rate, and you can get discounted extended commit for your use cases. The next one is, let's say, if you want to inference the things at scale, but you are okay to wait for some period of time, you can also go with the batch inferences as an option. Alright, now let's think about, we have certain use cases that we are building on. Maybe we are building an application, and for this application, what are the options available for me? How can I basically get the maximum benefit of the large language models? Because you know that large language models are the ones that are trained on vast varieties of data. But then, how can I best utilize this as per my use cases? So for that, you have some common approaches which is being followed across the industry. This includes, one of the first option is prompt engineering. Now what is prompt engineering? You basically change your prompt in such a way that you can be able to customize it as per your use cases. So the kind of prompt that you're going to provide it, you can definitely expect a better output as per your requirement. The second approach is RAG approach, which is also called as retrieval augmented generation. Anyone of you use the RAG, or at least build the RAG system? Okay, that's great. So what was the use case? Maybe if you want to talk about it.
Typically, RAGs are used for customer support agent types. Wherever there is any kind of customer support, or what you can say, for banks or something like things where there is a customer order and basically people are looking for the information, tracking and other purposes, and the RAG systems are typically augmenting the data with the latest information, and they hand it over to a human at a certain point. So RAG systems is something that we train continuously in our organization. So Agentic AI sessions.
It's a good use case. Now, anyone wants to talk about maybe more use cases around the RAG? So, yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
So RAG.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is Ashwin, and I have created RAG projects for myself, and I have tried to build it for my college also. So for my college, they wanted to have a chatbot, and I used RAG as a retrieval augmented generation. It needs a vector database to connect it with it, so it can get a personalized experience for the people who are interacting with it. Let's say you give some context to it, which is having somewhere inside the vector database. It goes to it, analyzes the query with regarding the query, and it gives out a personalized, very personalized answer to the user. So it creates personalization.
Thanks so much. Okay, that basically explains pretty much all the use cases of the RAG. Now I'll give you one very interesting use case. Let's say my org has a department called HR. Now HR department might have certain policies, they might have certain policy documents, right? Now what we want to do is, we have an employee, maybe a newly joined employee, he wants to understand the different HR policies, he wants to understand the different corporate processes that he has to follow as a new joinee, or maybe he has to also understand how can I apply the leave as a new joinee, or maybe as a full-time employee, how many leave balances do I have it. Now what we can do is, we can integrate all the HR documents, we can build this knowledge base, and for this knowledge base we can integrate with the LLM, and by doing this we are actually augmenting the LLM with some additional data, the corporate data, which typically LLM might not be aware of, right? So let's say your corporate policy might be different than the other company's policy, right? So we want to augment this LLM with some additional corporate data, and we want to train this in such a way that it can be able to help us addressing the queries of the employee, which is a newly joined employee in this case. So this ways we are able to address all the queries of our organization, and we are able to meet with the needs without exposing our corporate data to external world, right? So we are able to build this knowledge base with the help of this retrieval augmented generation. So retrieval happens first, then it is going to prompt or it's going to augment the LLM with some additional knowledge base, and it's able to help us with generating the new content for us. So that's what the retrieval augmented generation is. The next approach is the fine tuning. Anyone is aware of what fine tuning is? Or anyone has done the fine tuning job? No?
Fine tuning is you give your own knowledge base and you retrain your LLM based on that knowledge base, so that you create a new LLM wherein the panel layer has been changed, which is now reflecting your new KPI.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll give you one very interesting use case. I was working on a one simple use case recently, where I was not able to get appropriate output that I was actually looking at. So I was working on one of the, let's say, some financial system or maybe some pharma use case. Now for this pharma use case, although LLM was able to give me some generic responses, but I was not pretty happy with the responses that I was getting. In fact, I was looking at more customized vocabulary and customized answer based on my use cases, because it was very peculiar to the pharma company. And what I did, I actually provided some data set to the LLM, and I trained this further on some GPUs or some GPU based instances which had a lot of power to it, and I was able to get the relevant answers. I was able to get the relevant thing accommodated for my use case. So in this case, it was a pharma where it had to understand, let's say, I'll give you one very interesting use case here. So I'm working as a, let's say, medician, and in the case of a medical history, what I want to do is, let's say it understands, okay, what is the medicine to be given to a person who is ill or who's sick with fever. But then there could be many other categories of fever, or there could be many more possibilities due to which this person has got the fever. So we want to dig further deeper into this, like what could be the possible scenario where this person has got hold of this fever, and then we want to understand the more use cases of this fever. So, or what are the, you can say, background behind why this person has got the fever. Maybe we're going to go much deeper into this. Now, this is where you can fine tune the model with providing some additional data set. Now, in this case, what you're going to effectively do is, you're going to be freezing till the time the model is already being trained, and you're going to give it an additional knowledge. You're going to give it an additional data set. You're going to be fine tuning it. Now, remember, fine tuning will involve a lot of cost as compared to the RAG or as compared to the prompt engineering, but it is also a time consuming process. So if your organization is okay with going with that, fine, go with the fine tuning option, but remember, it involves cost, it involves the time as well. Next option for customizing the fine tuning is, or you can say customizing the foundation model is, go with pre-training or train the model from the scratch, but it's again a more expensive, more time consuming option, because you need those servers which have like lot of GPUs, lot of power to be able to train the model from the scratch, right? Moving on, next we discussed about this, that you can build the knowledge bases. So Bedrock provides you the capability to build the knowledge bases by augmenting it with some additional knowledge, and you're able to build this RAG system. Okay. Next up is Bedrock also provides you the option for Bedrock data automation. So there are different parsing strategies. So you can go with a default parsing when it comes to parsing the data or the parsing the documents. But let's say if your documents has got a lot of images to it, it has got a lot of text to it, and you want to parse that images as well as text, this is where Bedrock data automation comes into the picture. So you can use this as one of the parsing strategy to be able to parse that data set. The next, you can also use Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases which also supports the graph rack. So in case you're building the graph rack with lot of relationships, lot of entities into it, you can be able to do that with the help of Bedrock. Now comes the most fun part, which is our agenda for today. Now it was actually necessary because many of you might not be aware of what exactly the Bedrock is. So it was worth spending some time in understanding the Bedrock service. Now we are moving to the Agentic AI. Right? Now first of all, what are agents? Anyone is aware of agents?
A set of tasks. An AI which can do a set of tasks.
Which can maybe mimic the human behavior?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So now we'll talk about the quick evolution of the Agentic AI. So initially we started off with generative AI assistants, where these assistants used to follow some set of rules, that is automated repetitive tasks. Then came the generative AI agents, which through which they are able to achieve the singular goal or maybe address some broad range of tasks, or maybe they can also automate the entire workflow. Now came the Agentic AI workflows. Now what are Agentic AI workflows? These are fully autonomous systems which have the capability to do, think and act all the things automatically. So you can also integrate with multi-agents. So there could be one agent which is a supervisor agent, then there are like other specialized agents which are going to be doing the specialized tasks, and then finally reverting back the answer to your supervisor agent. So that way they can coordinate the task and they can complete the task or the activity. To give you an example here, let's say you are building a travel agent. Now for the travel agent, my task is to make sure that this travel agent, based on my request, it should go ahead and help me with booking my entire itinerary. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to have this agent first look for the appropriate budget. It will ask me the question, okay, how much is the budget? What's the date that you're planning? It will also make calls to multiple, you can say websites, maybe Make My Trip, maybe Ease My Trip, or some of the websites. It can also make calls to IRCTC website for searching for the budgeted trains that are available. It can also search for maybe airline websites to check which are the flights that can be accommodated in my budget. It can also find out the appropriate travel dates and also help me booking the entire thing. It will also go and talk to the weather APIs, may be able to find the weather updates during the time period, and it will help me to find everything and will ultimately help me to book the entire itinerary. So this is a good example of how multi-agents can collaborate with each other and they can then mimic the entire behavior for us. Alright, coming to the option that AWS do provide you today. So we do provide the infrastructure where you can basically fine-tune your model. You remember we discussed about how can we fine-tune the model, what are the options available. You can use SageMaker AI, where you can use the model that are available in the getting started, and then you can use those models, fine-tune them, deploy them, create the endpoints, and you can start using the models. Next option is we do provide you the options like infrastructure for training your jobs. You can use Trainium chips, inferential chips, GPU-based processors. We do provide you the option like a managed service option where you have the foundation models available from the various providers. That's a Bedrock service which we discussed a couple of minutes ago. Then we do provide you the options for building the agents. That's SDKs for agents, right? So this is Strands SDK, right? So you can use the Strands SDK to build your agents. And then on top of it, you have the applications which are using all of these options. Like you do have Kiro, you have Amazon Q. How many of you have used Amazon Q so far? Okay. And you used Amazon Q in Visual Studio Code or you used Amazon Q CLI? Both. Okay, that's great. So which experience did you like the most? Is it Q CLI or is it Q in VS Code? Q CLI? Yes. Okay. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, I would highly encourage to give it a try and see how you like the experience for both. Q in VS Code as well as Q CLI. So with Q CLI, you can install it on a Linux or Mac instances and then run it. You can simply give a command prompt saying that I want to build this agent or I want to do this. Q will do everything for you, including building your websites, including building your code or maybe reviewing your code or even identifying the vulnerabilities in your code. That's something it provides you. Then AWS Transform, anyone used Transform or is aware of what Transform is? No? Okay. So AWS Transform is a service which provides you the capabilities where you can transform your code from the legacy code to the latest version of the code. So let's say you might be working on some legacy version of Java and you want to transform it to the latest version of Java, or maybe you might be working on some very legacy systems which are like very outdated. There's no option available, but you still want to transform it. You have the transform option. You can be able to do that. Then we do have Connect in Amazon Connect, Marketplace. There are a lot many options that you can use it to build your systems or the applications. Okay, next. Now, as we discussed, we do provide you a lot of options to build, deploy your agents, starting from Bedrock, Strands, Noai, Act SDK, and so on. Now comes the fun part, Strands agents. Now what is Strands agents? Anyone used Strands agents so far? Okay.
This is an open source Agentic AI micro.
It's an open source system that can help you to build your agents. Anyone build the agents with maybe LangChain, LangGraph, CrewAI? Okay, that's great. So you know that how crucial or how difficult it could be when it comes to building a very complex workflow, building a very complex application with the help of those SDKs that are provided, right? So for example, I have been using LangChain quite a lot. I've been using LangGraph quite a lot in my systems and building a lot of agents with the help of these. But with Strands agent, the day I have seen the Strands agent, the day I have tried out the Strands agent, I'm a big fan of this. The reason being, with just few lines of code, you're able to basically build your agents very, very quickly. You give your agent access to different set of tools which is already available as some of the pre-built tools, or you can even you can build the tools with decorator, like add tool and then define your function, and you can easily be able to give access to the tools to this agent to be able to do some tasks. Right? So it provides you an ease of use, robust capabilities, extensibility, rapid deployment. So all these options are something that Strands agents do provide to help you to build your agents very quickly. In fact, I have a very quick demo of this where we will be understanding how to build this agents very quickly. So it's built for developers, model and deployment choice, so you can choose any of the models that you want to use it. It's highly flexible. You can even safeguard with guardrails. It provides you the native observability features, monitoring, evaluation. You have got broad selection of the tools that you can use it. So in fact, Strands agents also, the SDK also provides you access to a lot of tools that you can use it. And then you can integrate with a lot of AWS services, any LLMs that you want to integrate with, and so on. Now, I have a quick demo of this Strands agent. Let's go through this. Okay, so I'm just building an agent through this. So first step is to basically download the repository, which I have downloaded it already in this directory called Strands agent. And in this, what I have done is I'm just creating the virtual environment so that I don't need to install any of the binaries or necessary dependencies on my global system. I mean, I'm just going to be storing everything in this virtual environment on my system. I'm activating the virtual environment so far. And then next I'm going to provide the requirements file, requirements.txt, so that I can install all the necessary dependencies and the binaries that's required for me to install this Strands agent. Okay, so I'm installing this Strands agents on this virtual environment right now. Okay. Now, once the Strands agent is installed, next step is to install the agent tools, because we also want to give our agent access to the variety of tools. So this is what I'm doing. I'm installing, I'm giving this agent access to the tool, but before that I'll have to install that necessary dependencies, which I'm doing it. Alright. Now once this is installed, next step is to create a agent.py file, which I'll do that, and also requirements.txt file, which is going to install all the necessary dependencies in this case. Alright. So creating this requirement.txt file, where I'm going to specify all the necessary requirements. For example, Boto3, Boto Core library, Watchdog, and some other libraries in this case. I'm going to give you this link where you can also go ahead and play around with installing the Strands agent running locally on your system, and you can also build your agent very quickly. It's very simple, just few lines of code, and you should be able to build it in like few more minutes. And there you go. You can see now I'm installing all the requirements that are needed here for me to build this agent. Cool. So once this is installed, next step here is to create the build the agent. So we are going to build this first agent with Strands SDK. So creating this Python agent.py file, where I've specified the different things. If you see this up here, okay, I'll just take a pause here to explain this entire code. Okay, so if you see this, what we are doing is we are importing the agent, then tool, importing the different tools including the calculator, so that we can perform some calculation job. Current time, we also want to query the current time from this agent, and also we want to do Python REPL, where it will find out how many letters are there in the particular word that I'm going to provide to it. And you can see I'm also decorating this. I'm decorating this with some @ tool. So by decorating this with @ tool, you're also giving this agent access to the different tool sets, right? So for example, I'm creating a function which can help me to calculate the number of times that letter is appearing in this case. And then I'm also providing the different prompts or different tasks my agent should be capable of doing. So in this case, I'm going to ask, what's the time right now? Calculate this, divide by this. Tell me how many letters are there in the word strawberry, and then output a script that does what we just spoke about, right? So it's going to do this thing for me. Now you can see just few lines of code. So first is from Strands agents, from Strand tools, you import the tools. You decorate this with @ tool, you provide access to the various tools, and then if you want to define any function, you can do that. And then finally, I'm going to say agent equal to agent, and then you call the necessary tools that you want to call through this agent, right? So that's a very simple thing, and then let's run this code now, and let's see what happens. So this agent should be able to provide the answer for all these 4 queries that we are giving it up here. Okay, now we'll run this with Python 3 agent.py, and we should see the output just in a couple of seconds. Alright, And now you can see it says, can the script work fine? And it is able to provide us the output of everything. So that includes getting the current time. So you can see it's also calling the necessary tools here. That includes getting the current time, calculating the task, doing count of letters, and then also performing the thing that we just talked about. Right? So this is what it is able to do it. So with just few lines of code, you can see I'm able to build this particular agent. Alright. Now coming to the most important question, how does this Strands agent actually work? So you have an orchestrator agent which is being given access to the variety of tools, and this orchestrator agent, as you can see here, is now going to decide which tool should I make a call to. Should I make a call to tool 1 where I'm going to be invoking an LLM, or should I make a call to the another tool where it is going to be doing some task and it's going to give me the final results for me, right? So that way you are able to get a final result. So this is what the functionality of Strands agents is all about, right? So you have an orchestrator agent which is going to decide what action should I take. Should I invoke a model call, or should I invoke the necessary tools that I have been given access to? And then based on that, it will perform the task and will finally give us the output or the result. Alright, so now let's jump on to how do we build these agents to the production. See, anyone with the help of just few lines of code, writing down these few lines of code, is able to build these agents. But then, how do we move this agent to the production? This is our goal ultimately, right? So, now let's take a look at this particular simple query that we are passing it on to the LLM, right? So, for example, I'm just asking a query, hey, my Lambda function is failing, can you help me out? So it's going to, and this is my build ID. Now, I have a very peculiar query here that I'm going to be passing it on to this LLM. But then, can you see the answer that I've got it? The answer that I've got it here is, here are some common Lambda failure patterns. You might want to check the CloudWatch logs, and here is the generic error handling code that you might want to look at it. But just look at the kind of a message that I have got it. And can you tell me what's wrong with this message? Anyone?
Too generic.
It's too generic.
It doesn't know the context.
It doesn't know the context. It's just giving me some answers which I'm okay, but I'm like looking at more specific answer, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I want to actually understand where this error is coming in from and what exactly the action should I take it to be able to fix this particular problem. Now let's see, when we are going to give an agent access to the variety of tools, what is going to happen then? Alright, now look at the answer that we have got from the agent. Okay, so now thinking, it says thinking, I see that from your build logs, failure is in the pay processor Lambda function. And looking at your CR, you are not handling the conditional check failure. Here is how to fix it. Now, see the answer, the kind of an answer I have got it is actually able to go back to the actual Lambda function, understand the code, and also give me the specific recommendation that this is a particular Lambda function where there is an issue. And I'm also looking at your CR, this is where the problem is. And also I have access to the SIM ticketing tool, and I see that this issue was also reported previously. Now based on this is what I recommend you to do it, so that you can exactly go ahead and fix this issue very quickly. Now see the kind of smartness this agent has it. It's able to go to every piece of thing and able to help me analyze it and also give me the most appropriate answer, which I can definitely take as a recommendation, and I can fix this particular problem. In fact, there are some places where you can also give an agent access to the variety of tools where the agent can also go ahead and fix the problem. In fact, I have built a lot of agents like this which can also go ahead and fix the problem for me exactly. Maybe by restarting the server or restarting some of the functions or restarting the entire compute and able to help me fix the problems. Yeah. So this is what AI agents can help us solve the problems. Now moving on, now what are AI agents? So AI agents are the ones where you have given access to a lot of tools, you have also given the execution action where it can also execute the task on your behalf, and finally able to give you the responses. So ultimately, if I talk about what AI agents are, these are autonomous systems that can make plans, that can take actions, that can even solve the task for us. Now these are powered by LLMs and it's their reasoning engines. And also they are capable of selecting and using the appropriate tools, the tools that they have been given access to, right? And they can also execute the workflows, depends on what exactly they are being or they are supposed to be doing. So now, as we discussed, building an agent is super easy with Strands agents, SDK that are provided to us. We can easily be able to build it, run it on my local system. So today, in fact, I have got hundreds of agents running on my system. Can you imagine? But when it comes to taking these agents to the production, it's one of the Herculean tasks, I would say, right? So how can we do that? So what are the problems that we do face? So the problems that we do face when it comes to moving the agents to the production includes, I think some of you have already talked about it, but just to recap, we want to give access to the agent some memory, we want to give access to the agent, or we want to provide authentication mechanism to the agents. We also want to give agent and access to the different tools, the different data. We also want to have some observability practices set up, so at least we know that what type of calls are being made to which system. So at least when it comes to troubleshooting, we should be able to debug the issues very quickly, right? So this is what some of the challenges that might be associated with when it comes to building the agents or deploying these agents into the production system. Alright, so as we discussed, building an agent is the start, but moving into the production and scaling it for meeting up with our requirement is one of our goals. So how can we do that? So these are some of the issues that we do see that includes performance. How can we deal with the performance requirements? How can we make sure that we are able to segregate the user sessions? How can we scale this agent deployment to the production? How can we secure, how can we apply the governance practices so that we can be able to fulfill the org specific needs? Alright, we have a lot of excitement, a lot of potential with these agents, and we ultimately want to get the most business value out of these production AI agents, right? So this is what the problem statement the Amazon Bedrock AgentCore is helping us to solve. So with this, you can be able to build the powerful AI agents without the infrastructure or even the operational headaches. You can create agents with any framework, any model that you have it. So for example, if you are more comfortable with using Strands agent SDK, fine, go ahead and use that. Or if you are building your agents with, let's say, LangChain, LangGraph, Crew AI, fine, go ahead and use that. Gives you the complete flexibility to use any of your framework, any of your model. Maybe you might want to use some models from Bedrock, you might want to use some models from OpenAI, fine, go ahead and use that. So you have the flexibility to use that, and you can build your agents in production very quickly with the help of AgentCore. It's highly trusted. You can deploy secure, scalable, reliable agents that your organization actually can trust it. Okay, now this is what the entire workflow looks like. So if you see this now, so you have a client who wants to basically connect to this agent. You have an agent runtime. Now this agent runtime gives you access to you can say runtime environment where you can run your agent, right? So you can have your agent running on any framework. It could be Strands agent SDK, it could be LangChain, it could be LangGraph, it could be even the Crew AI. Next is, once your agent is deployed, once you have the runtime environment provided to the agent, next is you might also want to make calls to some third-party tools, or maybe you want to make calls to some other servers, you want to make calls to some external documentation, you want to make calls to some other MCP servers. Yeah, you have the AgentCore gateway, which provides you access to those external tools or external APIs that you want to make calls to. Next is your agent might need some, let's say, environment to run the code, or maybe debug some code, or maybe it also wants to go perform the internet-based searches. Yeah, you want to give access to the browser securely so that it can only be able to do that task in a secure environment. Yeah, you have these tools available like AgentCore browser, AgentCore code interpreter, where you can run the code, you can perform it in a secure most manner and test the code. Then next challenge that we do face, as we discussed, related to identity, right? So AgentCore also provides you access to the AgentCore identity, where you might want to provide access to some other tools. You want to authenticate them before your agent can make calls to those agents or to those external APIs. Or maybe let's say you want to call to different AWS services with the help of the secure identity. Yeah, you can use this AgentCore identity for that. Now further, let's say I'm building an agent which can also not only remember the context recently, based on the recent conversations, but also it should store that conversation in a long-term memory, right? So maybe I'll give you an example. Let's say if I'm building an e-commerce website, and for that e-commerce website, I want to understand the user preference or the customer preferences for the use cases. So I want to retain that customer preferences or the user behavior in a long-term memory. Yeah, you can have this AgentCore memory. So this AgentCore memory gives you access to the long-term, short-term memory, where you can store the conversation with respect to your customers. You can store that conversation in the long-term memory. And then further, you want to have some observability tools, like you want to keep track of how my agent is interacting with different LLMs or different workflows. You have the AgentCore observability features that's provided by the AgentCore option. Right. Moving on, let's go deeper into the AgentCore runtime. So it's a new type of serverless compute environment that's provided to you to run your agents into the production. It's built specifically for AI agents. Can keep your agent running for up to 8 hours, which is like a kind of a standard industry requirement. I mean, we might want to run the agent for continuously for long running processes, or want to run these agents for long running jobs. Yeah, you can do that. You have the session isolation, where you can isolate the session based on the user request, so it understands the context every user is basically talking about. It can also store the user conversation into the memory, so that when the same customer comes back, request for, let's say, same product, the agent already knows which context, what the user preference is actually. So it will show the recommendations to the customer only for those particular products. Okay, so unlike Lambda, after you invoke a runtime, you can call the agent again and again while the session is active. But with AgentCore runtime, it gives you the ability to run your agent for 8 hours, up to 8 hours. Moving on, AgentCore runtime. So we discussed that you can scale from real time to multi-hour workloads. So if your workload demands your agent to be running consistently for 8 hours, or you want to accelerate the time to market, where you want to build the agents for running it in the production systems, or you want to secure your workload, you want to isolate the user sessions, then you can be able to do that with the help of AgentCore runtime. Okay, so how does it look like? So with AgentCore runtime, as I mentioned, you have this this AgentCore runtime environment provided to you. So let's say this is, you might want to use any of the models, maybe model from Bedrock or maybe an OpenAI model. You want to use any of the frameworks like Strands Agents, SDK, or LangGraph, LangChain, or Crew AI. Then you have been provided a runtime decorator, observability config, and identity config. Next up is you build your Docker file. You configure the Docker file with all the features, and then it's going to launch your this runtime. Right now, before it launches the runtime, what it does, it also creates an ECR repository. That's Elastic Container Registry, where it's going to store those images based on the Docker file, and then it's going to provide this runtime. Where in the runtime it provides you the agent core runtime agent and runtime endpoint. Now once you have the endpoint, it's super simple. You just provide a payload to it, right? And then you invoke the API calls to this endpoint. And that way you are able to run this agent very efficiently. Yeah. So this is what the agent core runtime at a high level looks like. Okay, so if you look at a quick code example for this agent core runtime, you have this from Strands import agent. Then you provide, define which model do you want to use, what's the system prompt you want to use it, and which tools that you want to give access to this agent. You give a payload, and then you invoke your agent. So to invoke it, you simply run this command from Bedrock AgentCore, import Bedrock AgentCore app, and then app equal to Bedrock AgentCore app, run your agent code. Alright. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So we'll move on quickly to agent core memory. So
I think we have a question.
I had a question.
So what?
The question is primarily how different is it? So for example, I give a set of tools to my agent, like one tool is a policy retriever, one tool is a data retriever. Then how different is it? How different is it with respect to whatever we build with the LangChain and LangGraph?
So it's no different, I would say. Just the difference is with just few lines. So with let's say if you are building your agent with LangChain, right? So with LangChain you have to give a lot of things into it. For example, you might have to give access to a lot of other things, including making some API calls or copying something or giving. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Give me one second. Is it visible better? Or should I make it slightly bigger? Okay, perfect. So if you see this, I've built this particular agent with LangChain and I'm using Bedrock as an option. So when you are building an agent with your LangChain, so what happens in this case, if you see this, you are defining whole lot of things, including what all tools do you need it, what all binaries do you need it, and further you can see how complicated it can become eventually when you have a very complicated things that you want to give access to this agent, right? So in this case, I'm also defining some of the things like budget, language, interest, and then this function that I'm basically defining, and then some button trigger, and then there's a lot of things that I'm defining up here, right? And you also define some prompts that you want to pass it on, and then so on. So the point here is it becomes much more complicated as you move further with building these agents. With Strands Agent SDK, the benefit you get it is with just few lines of code, your agent is just ready, and you can simply invoke the code. Now, if we also go further deeper into this, how this Strands Agent SDK can help me build the agent very quickly with the help of AgentCore runtime. So AgentCore runtime provides you an environment, right? It's a production-like environment where you can eventually deploy your agent into the production. And this agent could be running for long hours, depends on how much time you want this agent to be running, and then doing the task for you, and then giving you the final result. So you have the ability with AgentCore runtime to deploy your agents into the production. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah.
Hello sir, Ashant this side. Sir, as we've been talking about Amazon Bedrock. So sir, what if we can integrate CRM with Amazon Bedrock?
You can do that, definitely that's a possibility. It's just that you have to, so assuming that you want to build a rack system with Bedrock, definitely you can do that. So Bedrock provides you an option to build a knowledge base. So you go to Bedrock, go to knowledge base as an option, create a knowledge base and integrate with your system that you want to integrate. In this case, you want to integrate with CRM. Fine, you can do that. So I'll show you real quick one thing. So if I will go to my AWS account, alright. So if you go to Bedrock, there's an option the Bedrock provides that's knowledge base. On the left hand side, if you see this, there's an option called knowledge bases. So you can integrate this with your any of the CRM system that you want to integrate. So when you're going to create a Bedrock knowledge base, click on this. So there are options like you can choose vector store, you can choose in case you want to choose structured data store like your data SQL database and so on, you can. So in this case I'm going to use vector store. You pick up this, you choose your data source. In this case it could be S3, it could be your Salesforce, which is one of the CRM, or you can even integrate with custom data source. These are options you can keep it to. Alright, moving on to so here as we were discussing that, let's say if I'm building an agent which has to handle the memory the customer conversation, where it has to also fetch the information about the customer preferences. Now why do I want to save that customer preferences? Because I want to let's say in the future if same customer comes back to us and he wants to ask a peculiar question where we have to fetch the customer preferences so that we can give a more customized experience to our customers. Yeah, we can do that. We can basically handle that initial conversation in the short-term memory, and then this customer preferences we are going to be sending it to the long-term memory, and eventually this long-term memory will be retrieved by the agent in the future when it's going to interact with the same customer. So that means we know that this customer has this particular concern, or this particular customer had this particular preference. So we can customize the customer experience and we give a better experience to our customers, right? So that's a memory. So to come back here, we can extract those events from the short-term memory, pass it on to the long-term memory, and you can store that conversation. So it could be like summarization, semantic information we want to fetch it up, or user preferences. So you can do that with the help of AgentCore memory. Alright. So to talk about how this actually works. So let's say you have an agent. Now agent is basically doing the conversation with the customers, and it's storing a lot of events like list events, retrieve the memory records, and then conversing with the customers. And in this case, we know that initial conversation will go to the short-term memory, but then eventually we want to pass some information from short-term memory to the long-term memory so that we can provide the more customized experience to our customers. Okay, and then you have the automatic memory extraction module which can help you to extract the information from the short-term memory to the long-term memory, and eventually will help you to retain that conversation for a long term. Alright, next up, the next tool that we have is AgentCore Gateway. As we were talking about MCP, how many of you have used MCP or at least is aware of what MCP is? Okay, yeah, anyone wants to quickly talk about?
Model Context Protocol. It was initially developed by Anthropics in 2024, I think. And it is like, if in layman way, if you want to explain it, it's just just like a connector for APIs to connect with tools, with AI and any kind of tools which we want to connect with it.
Alright, that's great. So if I give you a very layman's term, I'll give you my laptop example. My laptop is a MacBook, and my MacBook has to connect to different types of connectors. It could be USB connector, it could be HDMI connector, it could even be the other type of connector, right? So how do I provide access to my MacBook to those different set of connectors? I might have to use some kind of a hub which can provide me different kinds of connectivity options. Same is the case with your MCP. So MCP is Model Context Protocol, as he rightly described about it. So Model Context Protocol is a way of allowing access to the different tools to your agents. So you can use MCP server, give access to the agent different set of tools via this protocol called MCP, the Model Context Protocol. Right? It's developed by Anthropic in 2024. It's very popularly used. In fact, we have got more developers of MCP than the consumers of MCP. that's a case. Alright, moving on. With AgentCore Gateway, we can give agent an access to different APIs, Lambda functions, or maybe existing services, or maybe some other MCP compatible tools that my agent actually needs access to, right? So it can access thousands of tools through a standardized interface. Then you have access to all the different tools, the different things in a secure and unified access way. Intelligent tool discovery, which means your agents can, you can enable the agents to find the right tools that they will need it with context-aware discovery. It also has curated tool collections with granular permissions that you can define it so that you can have the agent make calls to the different set of tools with the help of this AgentCore Gateway. So as the name suggests, gateway means it's providing you a gateway to connect to the different set of tools. Alright, so as you can see in this diagram, we have an agent, right? So this agent is going to connect to the AgentCore Gateway, will connect to the maybe an API endpoint target through which it has access to the different set of tools, or maybe we are intending to give this agent access to the Lambda function or Lambda target, where it can also do some compute functions based on our needs. Right? So as you can see here, this Lambda target will have access to the different set of tools, or maybe different Lambda functions which can do some actions for us. Alright, moving on to the AgentCore identity. As we were talking about AgentCore identity, the identity is one of the most important thing because we want to call some services or some external tools in a secure way, right? And we also want to allow this agent to use some identity mechanism, maybe OAuth or any kind of the identity, maybe a SAML or some other identities. How can we do that? How can we do in a secure way? This is where AgentCore identity comes into the picture. So it basically, let's talk about some of the challenges that we do face it when it comes to identity management. So enterprise AI systems face critical security vulnerabilities, including if it's a monolith applications, that means the application which has got multiple parts to it, but they are all running on a single system. Right? It's a multiple monolith service, and you have access permissions given to all the services, maybe shared credentials, limited controls, you do not have a lot of controls. Unrestricted access patterns where you are giving full permissions to the users and so on. Yeah. So 3 pillars of protections. I just quickly rush through it because we know that these are some of the typical challenges that we do face it with respect to identity mechanism. Right? So this is where AgentCore identity helps us to solve. It provides you the mechanism where you can have the inbound authentication provided to the agent, where let's say if the user wants to interact with the any of the agents, it needs to provide an authentication, inbound authentication. And if agent needs to communicate to some other external services, we want to provide an outbound authentication, either with OAuth, AWS Identity and Access Management, or some other OAuth authentication protocols. Or maybe you want to give access to the agent to some different built-in tools. you can be able to do that with the help of AgentCore built-in tools. As we discussed, code interpreter, where you want to give access to a runtime environment, or maybe some command line, or where it can also execute the code in a secure way possible. Or you want to give access to the browser tool where it can do some internet-based searches. Yeah, AgentCore built-in tools provide you those options. Okay, finally, the observability. I mean, we know that observability is very important for us, where we want to keep track of what's happening, what's going on, how can we debug the issues very quickly. AgentCore observability provides you the options for that, to be able to help you monitor everything that's going on. Not only that, I mean, it also provides you the observability dashboard with CloudWatch or some third-party observability dashboards like OTel log, the open telemetry logs, and you can be able to integrate, plug in with some third-party tools as well. Okay, that's all. Thanks so much, everyone. I think I have some simple demo, but we'll see if some time permits. We'll come back to that.
Okay, if there are any questions that wish to be asked, yes. Mike.
Guys, be seated on your place. The mic will be coming to you.
Good evening, sir. My name is Antab Zafar. I want to just ask that how can I use Bedrock as a student with minimal cost, or as a young startup, how can we use Bedrock with minimal cost?
Well, you can keep on participating in all such events forums, where we also, periodically we do provide you the options to participate in such events. Get the feedback, submit your feedback, and then you will be provided some access code. Once you have access code, you can apply to your AWS account, and you get some credits which you can utilize to do all the things. And then in addition to that, you do get access to the skill builder if you are aware of it. Skill builder also provides you the option for exploring all the trainings that are available on the AWS platform. So feel free to explore skillbuilder.aws. And then we do have, are you aware of any other tools that we give access? Free tier option is there, so you can definitely try out with free tier. But with free tier, I think you don't get access to Bedrock service.
Yes, sir, that is.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so keep participating in such events where you get access to. If you submit the feedback, you will be given some voucher code. You can redeem it for trying out all these things.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And also, I think we can, so periodically in such events, normally what we do, I mean, at least I'm also part of Pune user group community. So in those communities, sometimes we also arrange for these sessions where also we give you the workshop builder IDs. You can use it for 24 hours, try it out for free. That's also another way. So keep participating in such events so you get access to all these.
Any more questions? This is the last question, guys.
Hello. Yeah. My question is related to the production, like you mentioned. On AWS, how can I track the overall or estimate the cost on the production runtime?
Yeah, so for estimating the cost, there is a calculator.aws that's available where you can go put up your use case that you are actually trying to explore, or the service that you're trying to explore. Once you have put up everything, it will give you the complete cost that you can be able to understand that this is the tentative cost that I might incur utilizing a service.
So it is a use case basis.
Yeah.
The way right now we have the other, for other services, we get for the use case basis. Is that so?
Correct. So you go to calculator.aws. That should be this. So AWS pricing calculator, you can go to this tool, click on create estimate, look for which region you are actually trying to use this particular service in. Right. You find this specific service. Let's say if I want to use EC2 as an option, you pick up EC2, you pick up what is the specification do you need it, and based on that, you can then find out okay, how much tentative cost I might incur for this particular. So you can see based on your use case, yeah, this much would be the tentative cost for it. Yeah. So you can be able to calculate with the help of this calculator, and you can understand how much cost will I incur. And then let's see if also for some of the services you might see that there might not be an option available. But fine, no worries. Maybe that service is relatively new and then you're not able to find the cost. Yeah. For example, I can go to AgentCore price. So you go to this option, it will give you the complete pricing that you can incur when it comes to running your agent into the production. Yeah, hope that answers. Yeah. So you can see this, like for example, if I am going to be using the AgentCore runtime, browser-based tools, or code interpreter, gateway, identity, yeah, how much cost will I incur for each of these options? Make sense?
Any more questions? One more question can be taken. Okay, you can ask Barry.
So, is there any recommendation approach for CI/CD pipeline and model operation and deployment testing?
Is there a recommended approach for CI/CD pipeline? Well, I think we would be coming up shortly, maybe a quick session on that, but keep watching for this space. But definitely we'll come back on that particular part. As of now, I think we haven't built anything on that part, but we will shortly be coming up on that.
So there will be no integration available?
Not yet. In fact, I'm not sure if you've already explored the LLM ops, where we do provide you the capability to do run this ML ops jobs and then create the LLM ops as a pipeline for building the agent into the production.
Okay, so now I request sir to please do ask a question related to your session. The one who answers the question first and the finest will win a goodie.
Okay. Alright, so my question is, let's say if I'm building an agent and this agent has to go into the production, and this agent I want to give access to the different set of tools, right? And also I want to give this agent a capability to go search the internet and also find me some information, maybe information about the most recent news or most recent updates for a particular product. So what is it that you feel that I can use it to build this particular agent? MCP, okay, fine, that could be one option, but what is the native capability that we are seeing? Okay.
Guys, please raise your hand and answer.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely right answer. AgentCore browser, definitely. That's basically the AgentCore tools. That is something you can use it where you are using the AgentCore browser, and then the agent can go ahead and search it. In addition, anyone also wants to add up something? I think that's the right answer.
So our complete answer would be AgentCore gateway and the AgentCore browser.
Yeah, that's correct. AgentCore gateway browser. Yeah, that's right. Anything else? Strands agent SDK.
Strands agent SDK.
And then what you can do in that? Decorator.
Tooling. A tooling feature.
Yeah. Add tool. Use decorator add tool and then give access to the
so also I have a question. Can we use pre-built tool in
yeah, there are pre-built tools definitely, like browser, AgentCore browser.
like HTTP.
Yeah. We can, definitely. In fact, I can show you some of the tools that are available that you might want to definitely give it a try post this session. So this is a GitHub repository. Go to github.com/strands-agent/tools. So you know, you can understand what all tools access are available. Like HTTP client is something you were talking about. Yeah, definitely you have it available in the list of tools.
Okay, so which according to you was the most fastest and the most correct answer?
I would say the person at the back. I think he is rightly pointed. Definitely he has added something, but he was the one who was it.
Okay, wonderful. I would request him to come over to the stage, and I request the speaker to please present him with the goodies that he has. Okay, so it is for Om Gupta. It was a wonderful answer. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, sir, for such an insightful and engaging session. I think it is safe for me to say that we are all running on AgentCore energy now. Yeah? Okay, so time to cool those circuit with some chai. Huh? I hear huh. I guess everyone says huh. Alright everyone, let's take a breather. It's tea time.
Okay, so this is a chance to network, share ideas, and maybe brag a little about your latest cloud project. Or if you like me, just find a tea stall and have 2 or 3 teas. Use this break to connect with your fellow developers, professionals, and community members. Who knows, your next collaboration might start here.
Okay, so one more thing, while you're at it, we'd love to hear your experiences from the first session on Instagram or LinkedIn, and don't forget to tag our social handles. You might find our social handles on our website awsugnagpur.com. Our team will also be capturing some quick video bites, the volunteers over here. So if you would like to share your thoughts or experience, you are most welcome to do so. Okay, we'll be featuring this on our social media, so yes, and they'll help us to make our future meetups even better for you guys. Also, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our venue partner, Persistent Systems, and their center head, Mr. Shekhar Patinkar, for their generous support.
Special thanks to our foods and beverage partner, that was Life of Chai, for keeping everyone refreshed and energized throughout the event. We will resume the session at 6:15 for our second exciting session.
Okay, so we'll resume at 6:15. We prefer that you reach over here before prior 5 minutes, and we request you to go from the back side. You'll find the cafeteria over there. Have a quick chill meet over there. Have networking sessions. Here professional students both are here. So yeah, 6:15 here, right here. We'll be having our second session. Thank you.
Thank you.